applications is the new postmark law. In the old days, we could just drop something off at the post office and it was postmarked right when we dropped it. Well, they have recently changed the law and it could be 2 days before your ballot is processed. So what you need to do yourself or tell your friends, when you take that ballot by mail to the post office, you have to tell the postmaster to stamp it right then in front of you. Otherwise, no telling when it's going to get processed. So that's point of information number 1. Point of information number 2, back on that table, there is a QR code for a service that helps you look up all these great candidates and you can check their endorsements. There is also a League of Women Voter Guide back there that has all the candidates. The League of Women Voters does this great job of nonpartisan work where they ask everyone the same question. That way you have more information at your fingertips. If we happen to run out, they do have this available on the website. Another great resource is Ballotpedia. It's a website where you can go and read more about your candidates. And then there's Vote 411. There are so many resources out there for us, we just have to look for them. Now I'm going to do a little bit of a commercial now for something that I call microactivism. I alluded to it earlier, but every conversation that we have as human beings in our daily life can start a ripple. For example, today, my husband, who does not like to shop, got a delivery. And I went out to meet the delivery lady, and I was kind of frazzled because I was trying to get ready for this because I've never done this before. And so I visited and I said, hey, by the way, are you registered to vote? And she said yes. And I said, well, I don't know what flavor of voting you're interested in, but we're having a candidate event. I'm the chair for the Democratic Party. And she said, oh, I'm a Democrat too, my whole family. And there you go. And so we talked about, the ballot and voting. And she said, yeah, my kids aren't really interested in voting, but they're going to vote this time. Every single time I've done this microactivism, whether it was at the Target with the checkout lady, or whether I'm buying something from a stranger on Facebook Marketplace, I would work that into the conversation, like fishing. Oh, I just came from a Democratic Party meeting. Every single time I have done that, I have met a Democrat. I have yet to have somebody tell me that, that's not for me, I'm a Republican. I have had people say, oh, I don't vote, that doesn't really affect me. And then they're in for a little bit of a chit-chat from me. So, and if you know me, you know I can chit-chat. My children used to ask for a spanking instead of a lecture. So, and, all right, I think, are we about ready, Omar? All right. So, awesome. So, all right, so we're going to move on to our next race, and this is a whole new kind of a section. These are our judges. So, Supreme Court Chief Justice, Supreme Court, Maggie Ellis. It's going to come up. She's on her way up, and we have 2 candidates in that race. Very quickly, this is amazing, Victoria County, so if you don't mind, this is incredible. Thank you all. Thank you to Jewel for organizing this, all the precinct chairs and volunteers who helped put this together, and for inviting us. I am Justice Maggie Ellis. I currently serve on the 3rd Court of Appeals out of Austin. The 3rd Court covers 24 counties. That's my jurisdiction. I'm running for Chief Justice of the Texas Supreme Court because right now our separation of powers are eroding and our rule of law is under attack. I'm running so that I can bring independence back to the Supreme Court and balance. So a little bit about me, and all of these wonderful candidates, we hear each other all the time, all around the state. So anybody on this front row could probably do my speech for me. So I grew up very transient, and we were homeless when I was a child. I was in and out of elementary school. I went to 8 elementary schools in 3 different states by the time I was 10 years old when we were in school. At 10 years old, my mom stopped taking us to school altogether. At 11 and a half, we were living in our car in New Mexico. I begged her to put me back in school. She drove me home to Corpus and left me at a gas station 2 miles from my father's house. She gave me $5 and drove away, and I didn't see her again for 12 years. At 22 years of age, I was a single mom with an infant, a 2-year-old, and I was raising my baby sister all by myself with no home for anyone. I got her through high school, put myself through college. It took me 16 years to get my undergraduate degree. I'm the only one of my 8 siblings here. I'm the only one of my 8 siblings who's ever attended university or graduated from college. I was a public school teacher and a foster mom, and then something I could never have imagined as a child. I went to law school so that I could be an advocate for kids and families who were like me and my siblings. I had 4 teenagers at home. I was a single mom. I drove 3 hours a day to get my law degree, and then I practiced in 5 of the counties that I now have the privilege of serving. I have handled thousands of matters in the courtroom from all sides of the document. As a judge, as a prosecutor, and representing and defending people. I bring tremendous legal experience to this seat. I've also led large organizations. But I also bring a lived understanding of what so many people who come before the court have experienced. It is a voice that we do not have on the court. One of my primary focus on the court will be to expand access to justice initiatives. 15% of Texans live at or below the poverty line. 25% of people represent themselves in family law cases. That's not what our courts should look like. Our courts should serve all Texans. I would be incredibly honored and grateful to have your endorsement or your support. I hand out my personal mobile number to anybody who wants it. I hand it out to 18,000 people that I serve. Nobody ever calls me, but you are welcome to. I have cards over on the desk, and all the information it's all candidate information except the mobile number is my personal mobile number. Or if you have a pen, my number is 512-587-8644. Feel free to call me, I would love it. I have been endorsed by over 57 organizations, national, state, every attorney group who has endorsed this race has endorsed me. I got 60% of the state bar's judicial poll over my Democratic opponent, every young person's group, and I would be, like I said, honored to have your support. If I'm elected in November, I will be the first woman ever elected as Chief Justice of the Texas Supreme Court. I'm very, very, very qualified and very passionate about this, but I will be the first mother, the first grandmother, the first wife of a veteran to ever serve. And I would love to help. Thank you so much. What a candidate. All right, so next on the list, we have Justice Supreme Court Place 7, Mr. Goodwin. Sorry about this octopus of the court.
Thank you, Jill. It's a pleasure to be here. And my name is Goodwin. I'm running for Place 7 Justice on the Texas Supreme Court. And I wish I could offer all the fireworks that some of our previous candidates offered to you, but judges are a little bit quieter, a little bit different. And just to give you a little background about what the Supreme Court does, it is the highest court in Texas for civil matters. The highest court in Texas for criminal matters is actually the Court of Criminal Appeals. You'll hear from a candidate for that court in just a little bit. But the Texas Supreme Court is a court that deals with civil matters. So it's both the family law issues and also business issues. It's commerce, it's finance, it's what makes Texas great in many ways. And just to give you my background, I served for 6 years on the Texas First Court of Appeals in Houston, Texas. That term started in 2018, and if you're wondering what the blue wave looked like, thank you. I am the blue wave. When I ran in 2018, there were no Democrats on the First Court of Appeals, and I ran against a very popular Republican who now serves on the Texas Supreme Court. And I beat her and had the honor and the privilege of serving Texas on the First Court of Appeals. There is no court left above the First Court of Appeals except for the two top courts, the Supreme Court and the Court of Criminal Appeals. I'm running for the Texas Supreme Court. My background is largely in business and finance. Matter of fact, after the Enron meltdown, I actually advised the Financial Standards Board on how to fix some of the problems that led to the Enron meltdown. I also gave some advice that they didn't accept, which led to the second meltdown, you may remember, the mortgage crisis in 2008, 2009. It's unfortunate, but if you want to read about some of the work I've done in that area, you can do so on my website, goodwinforjustice.com, where I published all of my articles that I published while I was on the court, but also a lot of my opinions. And what you'll find is that my opinions, the ones I've listed, are dissenting opinions. And I was the only one in my court who felt the way that I did. But those are the dissenting opinions that were subsequently adopted by our highest courts. And one thing that you've got to remember is, even if we're totally successful, if all four of the judges who are running for the Texas Supreme Court on the Democratic side win, we'll still be the minority. We're still going to have to convince the people on the court who are not Democrats that we're right. And I think that can be done. If you read some of my dissenting opinions, two of them involve someone you might recognize, Kenneth Paxton. And he did not fare well in my court, just so you know. But the two cases you might be interested in reading about are the Stevens case, that came out of Jefferson County, Beaumont, and the Weiss case, which came out of Collin County, but ended up down in Harris County, both of which involved our current Attorney General. So I want to talk to you a little bit about why I am a Democrat. One of the people I met on the campaign trail asked me that question. I had to think for a moment. I realized that when I was a very small child, my father took me to hear John F. Kennedy speak. And for the young people in the audience, it was a profoundly moving moment for me, because that was just about the time that he didn't get to live to see it fulfilled. That was under President Lyndon Johnson. But that was just about the time that this country changed in a profound and beautiful and wonderful way. In 1964, they passed the Voting Rights Act, they passed the Civil Rights Act, and that was the Summer of Freedom. And if you don't know what that's all about, I ask you to go back and study your history. This country is much better than it was when I was growing up. And I'm concerned today that we're seeing it drift back in the opposite direction. And that's not good for anyone sitting here. It's not good for any of the people in this country. Part of what I want to mention to you is that if you look at our government, there are three branches of government. There's the executive, there's the legislative, there's the judiciary. And I argue that right now, it's not the executive, it's not the legislative, but it's the judiciary of all the three branches of government that is still doing what it's supposed to be doing for our country. And that includes some of our Republican brethren, by the way. Some of those Republican judges are doing the right thing. And it is important, I think, that you remember that the judicial races, though they may seem like the ones at the bottom of your ballot, those may be the most important races in which you're voting this time around. And I urge you to think carefully about getting to the ballot and voting. One last thing I'd like to mention, although I may not look like it, all four of my grandparents were immigrants. And I'm here because they were greeted with open arms by this country. I wouldn't be here if they hadn't been. So I'm profoundly grateful to this country for giving my grandparents the opportunity to find a beautiful home here. I know many of the people in this audience are immigrants or the children or the grandchildren of immigrants, and that's really part of what makes our country great. So again, my name is Goodwin. You can find my website at goodwinforjustice.com. I'm running for Justice, Place 7 on the Texas Supreme Court, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. Next up, we have Holly Taylor, who is running unopposed for Judge, Court of Criminal Appeals, Place 9.
Thank you, Jewel. Isn't she amazing? She's incredible. Hi, I'm Holly Taylor, and I'm running for the most important Texas court that most Texans have never heard of. What Gordon mentioned and what most people don't know is that Texas is one of only 2 states that has 2 Supreme Courts at the top of the court system. The Texas Supreme Court that Maggie and Gordon are running for, and the Court of Criminal Appeals is our top criminal court in Texas. And it makes important decisions on core constitutional issues on a regular basis that define our constitutional rights and freedoms. So it's super important. Things like the First Amendment right to free speech, separation of powers, and digital privacy. You know the court is super important because Ken Paxton and his allies formed a PAC to target this court and pack this court with his hand-selected candidates in 2024. So you know the court is important. A little bit about me. Personally, I'm a native Texan, and I am the proud mom of 4 kids that attended Texas public schools. And sadly, I've lost 4 babies. And I am so grateful and thankful for amazing Texas doctors who were allowed to use their medical discretion to save my life. Professionally, I've spent over 25 years practicing criminal law, and the vast majority of that, I was a prosecutor in Travis County, Texas. I took on government corruption. Our team tried former Congressman Tom DeLay for money laundering to a guilty verdict. I prosecuted civil rights violations. And I also prosecuted violent crime like murder, rape, and child abuse to keep my community safe. And it's about time that we have judges in our Texas high courts who know what government corruption looks like, and who know what a civil rights violation looks like, and who know what child sex abuse looks like, and are willing to hold those perpetrators accountable. But over the last 5 years, I've also worked with Travis County's Conviction Integrity Unit. And that unit investigates wrongful conviction claims brought to them by organizations like the Innocence Project, if you've heard of them. The unit does DNA testing, scientific review, interview witnesses who testified at trial, and we find those witnesses who were never called to testify at trial. And doing that work, we dig down to ensure that the convictions in Travis County have integrity. And I'm going to tell you that coming to that work with a background as a prosecutor, I anticipated that we would not have any wrongful convictions in my county because we were fighting for justice. But I was wrong. And what I discovered through that work is that we did have wrongful convictions in our county, and what was much worse is that a few of those convictions were cases that I originally prosecuted. In other words, I worked hard to put someone behind bars because I believed that they were guilty and they were a danger to my community. And then, through this important work, I discovered that they were innocent and that I was in part to blame. And I have been fighting for justice for those people. And I'm proud to say that we recently had an important exoneration in one of those cases. And a person was found actually innocent by the court that I'm running for. But through this work, I have seen the cracks in the foundation of our criminal justice system. And I know that I have more work to do to make things right. And I am fighting for justice not just in my county now, but across the state. I am so passionate about this work that even though I have no primary opponent, my campaign is going to every one of the 254 counties in Texas to bring this message about justice. And I think it's really important that judges who serve on our high courts serve for all Texans, not just the Texans in the big cities, but the Texans in the small cities and the rural areas as well. And I am ready to do that. My name is Holly Taylor, and I'm running for the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals.
Thanks, Holly. We have another unopposed candidate, and this is a candidate who has come to Victoria many times. He's appeared at our events, our meetings. He came to our John Lewis rally that we had downtown. Please welcome Thomas Ray Garcia. Sorry, I forgot to tell you what he's running for. He's running for the State Board of Education, District 2. You've heard of school board, you've done State Board of Education.
Victoria County, it's time to fight for public schools and reject the school voucher program. It's time to prepare high school graduates for the real world, not for high-stakes STAR testing. It's time to make the Texas miracle a reality and lead the nation in reading and math. It's time to elect a new generation of public leaders to public office. It's time to elect an educator to represent us at the State Board of Education. My name is Ray Garcia, and I am the educator and Democrat running to represent District 2 at the Texas State Board of Education. I am the Democrat who puts students first. That's why at age 19, I founded a college access program that worked with underserved students like me, first in their family to go to college, single-parent household, low income, to get them to and through college and to come back to the Rio Grande Valley to uplift the next generation of leaders in their community. That's why I became a high school teacher right after graduating from Princeton University and living up to the informal motto, in the nation's service and the service of humanity. That's why I teach today at South Texas College both adult learners and new enrollment high school students. That's why I ran for this position in 2022. I didn't make it out of our 5-way competitive primary. Unfortunately, the Republicans flipped this district from blue to red by only 0.4 percentage points. I know the blue wave is coming, and I know when we elect an educator to the Texas State Board of Education, we will get different results. I stand against the school voucher program. Our State Board of Education member supports the school voucher program. I would have voted against Bluebonnet Learning, the top-down, one-size-fits-all, I will refuse to regulate. Our State Board of Education member was the deciding vote on Bluebonnet Learning. Our State Board of Education member voted against Native Studies, and he's voted with the most radical right-wing faction of the State Board of Education that stands against ethnic studies. I am pro-ethnic studies. Soy un fronterizo from the Rio Grande Valley. Our history is Texas history. I ask for your vote, not only because I'm a Democrat, but because I am an educator, the only educator in the race who understands the real challenges going on in our public schools. I invite you to come to my table to learn how to organize. I am not going to take this race for granted, and I'm not going to let the blue wave wash me in. I plan on making the wave. My name is Thomas Ray Garcia from Hidalgo County. Thank you all for having me tonight.
Thank you so much, Thomas. 18. She is the only person in her race, and she will be on the ballot against Lois Colcourse. And we are super excited to have Erica Gillum here with us.
Good evening, Victoria. My name is Erica Gillum, and I'm running for Texas Senate District 18. I'm just going to give you a little bit of background about me. I think the candidates that came before me spoke very well, very energetic, and I'm a little intimidated. But nevertheless, I served as city council. When I came to, let me back up. I'm a student of political science. I went to Prairie View A&M University. I graduated in Waller County area, and so I went from graduating to healthcare. I worked at MD Anderson in administration, so I understand healthcare and the importance of healthcare. From there, I received my real estate license in 2002. I've been a real estate agent, active even now with RE/MAX, in case anyone wants to know. I'm an active real estate agent, so I've also seen what's happening and what happened in 2007, 2008 in the housing industry. So I'm well aware of how that is affected and impacted even today. I went from there and I called my dad. My dad was the mayor of a city. So I kind of, and I'm the only child, so I heard about this in '83. And I saw the challenges even there in rural America in '83. At that time, I was in middle school. So I called my dad and I said, Dad, I don't know what's going on, but I'm really into this politics. I told him that I would never get into politics when I was younger, but some way, some form, some fashion, I found myself in politics. I called him, I said, Dad, I believe I want to run for something. I want to come back home. And so he said, well, come and talk to me. So I went and talked to him. It was a lady had sit on city council for 18 years, unopposed. So I said, well, that's going to be a hard one for me because I'm a freshman politician or public servant, not politician, but public servant, and I don't know exactly what it's going to entail. But I saw him, he built a very deep work ethic in me, very hardworking, very integral, and accountable. And so I saw him go through that also as an Army, as a Navy vet. So I saw him go through a lot of things when I was younger. It kind of prompted me to want to service people. I really care about the individual. I really care about how I can serve. I really care about the heart of the people, the needs of the people. That's why I got into healthcare. That's why I got into real estate. Now I'm here in politics, crazy, I don't know. But I'm here. So I talked to him, so I ended up winning that election for city council. Then I saw the challenges as a city council person. I ran for mayor. I won my seat. So I served as the mayor of the city. I went to the state asking for a hospital district. We could not get a hospital or hospital district within the Waller County 290 corridor because of the density or the lack of density. Am I almost done? I'm sorry. Okay. So I had to go to the state. I had to go talk to Representative Kitzman, and I had to go and talk to Senator Colcourse. Blank face, stale face, didn't want to hear it, didn't care. But I thought about all the people that was dying or being having to be stabilized in transit 20 miles either direction, north, south, east, or west. 20 miles to get to a hospital. Blood clots, that's life-threatening. Strokes, heart attacks. And so that prompted me to say, you know what, I need to do more. That's me, I do more. But the number one thing that I will get, that I'm going to ask for your support, is that I will make sure that you are heard. I will make sure that you are attended to, because that's how we serve and that's how we make a difference. It's no longer about taking pictures. It's no longer about showing up for those people that you only serve because they're voting in your city. It's about coming, jumping on the boards, asking people, what do you need? I've served as the mayor. I know what it was to try to go from being the mayor to go up and get funding for rural America with the streets, the infrastructure, the roads, of course, the sewer and water lines, and all of that, broadband, all of that. So I understand what those challenges look like from the ground. And that's what you're going to get. You're going to get someone who cares, someone who listens, and someone who would advocate for everyday middle-class people. So if I've touched you in any way and you're persuaded to say, hey, I gonna be okay, then you know that I will serve you properly, and I will serve you with dignity, and I will hold Texas accountable to get you what you need in your area. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Erica. Alrighty, we have a little adjustment. So State Representative District 30, we were scheduled to have 2 candidates, but Ms. Cedillo texted me that she had something come up. But she is on social media, she's got websites and things so you can find some information about her. But we do have David Steves on deck.
I'm David Steves, running for State Representative District 30, covers 6 counties, DeWitt, Milwaukee, Jackson, Goliad, Victoria, and Matagorda counties. I live outside of Victoria here with my family. I grew up in Yorktown, the son of a teacher, and mom worked in the bank. Dad taught math and science for 32 years. As growing up, my dad had work a job during the summer to help make sure we had money during everything. So I've seen the struggles of teachers. Public education is near and dear. I've served on almost all of the bond payment task force for Victoria, ISD. I served on the bond oversight committee for Mission Valley School, a beautiful new school we have up there. It's awesome. So it's time Texas schools are fully funded. I want to ensure that happens. As a 5th generation rancher, I have insight to what rural Texans are facing, from water infrastructure to corporations buying up land for non-agricultural use. One of the biggest problems facing rural Texans is healthcare. Not having rural hospitals that are fully staffed, to not even having as much of a clinic in our area. Goliad County, there's certain areas that are over an hour away from emergency rooms. We have to do something like that. We can't let our rural Texans be that far away from emergency care. So we've got to work on that. We've got to work on lowering the healthcare costs, ensure it's affordable for everyone. And I decided to run for state representative because I knew, serving the Victoria School District, that the problems locally that we see can't be solved locally. They need to be solved at the state level. Instead of state blaming the local people, it's the state's fault. We got to fix that. I will not be bought. I'm in this fight with you. I will continue to fight for you. I will be your voice in Austin. We need to turn this tractor around.
Thank you, David. All right, our next race that we have is a county race. We have someone with a very exciting story who decided to run for county treasurer. She is running unopposed on the Democratic ballot. Her name is Patricia Youngblood, and I'm so happy to have her here.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. Public service isn't about politics. about responsibility. I've loved hearing everyone tonight, truly inspiring. Well, my name is Patricia Youngblood. I've grown up here. I'm a Victoria native. I've raised my family here. I've worked here. I'm definitely not a career politician. I'm just a hardworking, everyday citizen who has decided to step forward and serve my community using skills and experience that I've built over the years. I understand what it means to work hard for every paycheck. I've had seasons in life where making ends meet required discipline, planning, and sacrifice. So that's why I respect the taxpayer dollars, because I know what it takes to earn them. So for the county treasurer position, I do bring 15 years of public service experience. For more than 4 years of direct financial management experience in public sectors and accounting roles, experience managing accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll reporting, and financial reconciliation. Sounds fun, right? That's my daily life. I do have a strong background in compliance, audits, and documentation accuracy, and internal controls. Earlier in my career, I did serve our community with the Victoria City Police Department, where I did learn professionalism, accountability, and the importance of public trust. The county treasurer holds a critical responsibility to the people of this county. The role includes safeguarding all county funds, ensuring all money is properly deposited to correct accounts, dispersing funds as directed by the Commissioner's Court and according to the law, reconciling bank statements, and maintaining accurate financial records to protect our taxpayer dollars, and providing regular financial reports to ensure transparency and accountability. So these duties do require attention to detail, integrity, organization, and disciplined financial oversight, qualities I've practiced throughout my career. I'm running on experience, work ethic, and a commitment to serve. My background in public service and financial management has prepared me to take on this responsibility with integrity and discipline. The office is built on trust, and I intend to honor that trust every day. I handle county funds with care, or I will handle county funds with care, accountability, and transparency, always remembering that the money belongs to the hardworking people of this community. Serving this county isn't about politics for me. It's about giving back to the place that's raised me, where I grew up, and trusting me to protect what matters most. Because at the end of the day, this position belongs to the people, not the person holding the title. So thank you for the opportunity to serve.
I kind of feel like the Grim Reaper or Darth Vader because I start standing up when people get the yellow sign. It's like, oh, she's coming. Alrighty, so our last race of the night, we have two candidates. We have our incumbent, Estrada will speak first. Oh God, sorry. Estrada Rivera, I'm so sorry. I'm going to get better at this. This is only, it's the beginning for all of us. The beginning of the blue wave.
Good evening, everyone. Thank y'all for coming out tonight to this great event that Ms. Buchanan, and everyone else that had part in this tonight to do. It's been a great event. It's been great hearing everybody else speak. I am Judge Mary Ann Rivera, Estrada Rivera, Justice of the Peace of Precinct 1, and I am running as an incumbent for a fourth term. I took office in 2015, and I love what I'm doing, and I want to continue serving the county and the community as Justice of the Peace. My background is I'm a mom, a wife. My husband Lupe, for 28 years, he's been my biggest supporter in this, pushing me every minute go out there and get these votes just like he did in 2014. I worked for a district judge for almost 10 years. I worked at the sheriff's office. I worked translating in the courts as a licensed interpreter. And then I decided I wanted to be justice of the peace, so I ran for office in 2014, and I won. And I want to continue doing what I'm doing. I don't know if any of you are familiar with what a justice of the peace does, but we do quite a bit. Just real quick, I have to hear evictions. I have to hear small claims court, debt claim court, truancy, education. I push education. I had 5 kids that graduated from high school and 2 that graduated from Texas A&M. I'm a proud mom of all of them because they are all successful, all my children. And as a mother of a special child, I know what it's like to struggle, to be there for them. But I see the parents that come in my court for truancy, for their kids. My child went to school in a wheelchair and graduated. I see it this way for education. Every child should be in school getting that education. I'm willing to work with the parents. I'm trying to have meetings with the parents, trying to help them before they have to come to court. I don't want to see them in my court for truancy. I don't want to see people in my court for evictions. But those are the things that we have to do. We have to listen. I try to be fair and just and apply the law how I have to. It's not how I want to, but it's how I have to. I have to apply the law to every case that comes before me. I love what I do, and I want to continue doing what I do. I want to continue to serve the community, the people from Precinct 1. If anybody doesn't know, Precinct 1 is South Victoria, Guadalupe, Bloomington, Placido, Da Costa, all those little rural towns. That's 1. I see the red flag. I just want to let y'all know, thank the Franco family also for having us here, but as a patriot, I don't know, a patriot, but coming to this floor, we've given this hall that has history, but we've given this hall a nickname. It has the heating floor, because when you come and dance on this floor, you forget all your pains. So I just want to leave y'all with that. Thank y'all for coming out, and if you know anyone in Precinct 1, please, as I'm telling people, there's only 3 things I'm asking for: prayers, support, and votes. Thank you. Oh, one other little quick thing. Sorry. I did have somebody in office that's a Republican. I seen him somewhere, and he told me, he asked me how it was going. I said, well, I have an opponent this time. He turned around and told me, well, you would have signed up as a Republican, you wouldn't have had an opponent. And I looked at him and I said, my daddy raised me better than that.
Rivera, and next we have Kevin McNary.
How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Kevin McNary. I'm from Victoria, and I'm running for the Justice of the Peace for Precinct 1. I'm a retired police officer from the state of Texas Department of Criminal Justice. So when I first went into the academy, that was one thing, the very first thing that they instilled in our minds is called firm, fair, and consistent. That's the first thing that they embedded in our mind. That slogan alone, it allowed me to have a successful career within TDCJ. With that slogan embedded in our minds, it allowed us to make fair, quick judgments and decisions. So, with that slogan, along with the other training, that's how I survived within those walls. And that's how I was allowed to perform and have a successful career. So now I'm retired from that. So what firm, fair, and consistent means to me, and how I will apply it as justice of the peace. Firm, being firm means upholding the law without hesitation. The law must be followed as written. Decisions cannot be based on egocentric emotions or pressures. Being firm means having courage to make difficult decisions when necessary and maintaining respect for the authority of the law, based on the precedents, case law, and breadth, where every decision is founded by visiting every possible solution. The justice of the peace is where many of our neighbors, as Mary Ann said, or Judge Mary Ann said, they handle small claims, evictions, misdemeanors. Sometimes they may have to go out and identify a body, order an autopsy. There's a lot of different things that's included in that job. And these cases, they affect working families, business owners, property owners, and individuals just trying to resolve disputes. They want to move on with their life. Get in, get out with fair decisions. But firmness alone, it must be paired with fairness. Being fair means listening. Every person deserves to be heard. Every case deserves careful attention, inbred. It means treating both sides with dignity and respect. It means applying the law impartially, without favoritism and without prejudice. And above all, justice must be consistent. Consistency builds trust. The community should not wonder how a decision will be made based on who is involved or what one thinks of it. They should know the same standards apply to everyone, every time. Consistency. So, we have three things. Firm is upholding the law. Fair, here in every case. Consistent in applying justice. Firm, fair, and consistent is what I believe our community deserves. From the next justice of the peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kevin. All right, this wraps up the candidate introductions, and as the candidates return to their tables, we are going to draw for the door prize. We have a door prize for all of the people who signed up via Mobilize, because as we do that, it makes us more efficient when people sign in, and you have to be present to win. So is Margie Sims still here? Nope. Wanda Carter Dyer. I see her, I saw her. All right, you're the big winner. Wonderful. All right. And before I dismiss everybody, using my teacher talk, all those yummy Democratic Party cookies and snacks, since I'm a teacher, I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. As you get up and you visit with the candidates and ask questions about their plans, the environment, healthcare, I want you to take that information out with you. We have 5 days left in the primary, 5 voting days left. If each one of you talks to 5 people about how important it is to get out and vote in the Democratic primary, that'll be 25 people. 1 row of you will affect 200 votes in Victoria County, or Cuero, or DeWitt, or wherever you came from. So let's do that. Let's get that blue wave going and turn Texas blue. Thank you all very much.